a show once a week where we're going to come on for probably anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes and just spitball about the market, go over some charts, and just try and add value to your swing trading journey. So, how you doing tonight, Felix?
I'm doing very well. So excited to be sharing with our friends out there in internet land, and just excited about what's going to happen in the next 4 years with all that has been happening in the last 2 days.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's start by talking about the election that happened yesterday, and obviously we don't want to get too political per se, but from a top-down trading strategy standpoint, unfortunately or fortunately, however you look at it, politics can impact your trading and investing strategies. So, from your perspective, what do you think a Trump win means to the stock market?
Well, one of the things I think it means is bring stability, and I think a lot of people like stability. Even Wall Street, Wall Street voted with their dollars today, which is why the stock market just shot up today. Uh, I, Even though there's optimistic of optimism for just a brighter future, it's not going to be a straight shot up. If we could just look at the 4 years of his first presidency, he's going to have opposition. There will be some pitfalls in the stock market, and it behoves you to at least look at key factors to protect your portfolio or to add to your portfolio during this next election cycle. And I think it's going to be a great time for people. I think if you plan ahead, if you invest wisely, I think you can really make a huge dent in the next 4 years.
I agree, and it's interesting because we saw, yesterday throughout the day, Bitcoin starting to run, right? So I think Bitcoin today is around 74, 75,000. So, I think from that standpoint, the crypto world is optimistic that a Trump presidency is going to be good for crypto as well. So we'll see. Only time will tell, and we'll see what type of policies they roll out and what happens. So, but yeah, the stock market definitely ramped up today, right? Gapped up, open huge. Had a huge day today. Don't anticipate that happening quite again tomorrow, but yeah, I think that was a response to what they see. So, all right, you want to get into some stock charts? Where do you want to head next, Felix?
Absolutely. Let's go to some stock charts. One of the things I want to mention, where all the indices that we're just reporting up today, you have to look like a indice like the Russell 2000, which doesn't have huge moves like it did today. And I know there was a lot of spread traders out there that were covering themselves today. But one of the things that we want to look at, one of my favorite charts is Tesla.
You want to
It
start with the
is,
indices first, and then
yep.
we'll get into the
Absolutely.
individuals.
Absolutely. We could look at the Russell 2000. Where you at right now? The SPY?
So I got the SPY up. Figure we'll do the SPY, QQQs, and then the Russell.
Perfect.
So yeah, so obviously on the SPY, it had been tracking right along in here and just sort of consolidating. And then obviously we saw that sell off and that pullback last week. But then you've got this huge gap up here today and this long wick at the bottom. So a lot of range today, and with that long wick at the bottom, this bullish close for that candle. We'll see where this could head tomorrow. But you know, again, pushing into all-time highs again on the S&P. What are your thoughts on this index?
I think, yeah, it's the market's reacting where it's in no man's land. Right now, we're just creating a new step to the upper level. We're looking at that big gap up. If it stays there, that's the key clue. If it stays there, because right now is there's no really indication for demand or sellers are there, and right now this is creating its own little kind of real estate in the stock market per se, where if it keeps on that gap and builds from there, then I will see another step up. Now, one of those things is that gap will be important maybe later in a few months or a few weeks, because maybe the stock could retrace and come back down and fill that gap level. So that's a level that to me it's going to be maybe a new support if it sustains, or it just could be a new resistance line that the stock market has. It's one of those no man land play, and it's just a wait and see.
Well, we certainly know. I mean, the stock market does no guarantee it's going to fill the gap, but we also know that it doesn't like gaps. So,
Mhm,
probability that it will, obviously we'll have sell-offs and consolidation. That's to be expected even in a bull market.
mhm.
But when and if that gap fills is the question. That brings it down to, still only brings it down though to about 580. So
Which there's still opportunity, and that's one of the things that I see is actually when you look at the chart that big, now it gives a better view where you could see it almost forms a double top where that gap is, and you see that line. It's I think a
back on the
few
S&P, you talking about the S&P chart?
yeah, the S&P. Go
Hmm.
back a few the you had a few more days on the chart. Uh, go back a few more days on the chart. You almost saw like an M pattern. Unless, oh, was that the chart? Was
No,
the
I,
S?
I think I confused you because I switched over to the Qs.
Okay, that must be it. So,
Yeah,
okay, no, but that the Qs is in no man's land. I remember when the Qs was trading at $40 in the '08, '09,
way
and now
back when.
way back when, and just to see where that stock has gone. I mean, it's a great play. It is to me, uh, in my opinion, and this is opinion alone. I think the Qs really it's gonna surpass the Dow 30 one day as one of the top indices because how tech heavy it is, and we are moving towards a more tech central type of type of more of an environment with a autonomy, with everything that's coming out, and I like the Qs long term. I
That's
still
a
think
bold
it's
statement, especially since I think Nvidia just got moved into the Dow 30. So that'll
I
be
know.
interesting.
I
That'll
know
be interesting. All right, we'll
it
see what your
is.
prediction comes up with. But
It is.
yeah, no, the Qs. Excuse me. Obviously, Nasdaq had a strong day today. We saw a lot of buying coming into play. So Qs were able to break through this rising trend line here and close above it. So that's definitely strong for it. I mean, I saw some, despite a lot of the day that it had, right? Dow up 1500, Nasdaq up over 500, S&P up over 140. Despite that, there still is some concern about this market moving forward because when you take a look at your 10-year yield, look at what's going on with the 10-year yield, right? Which we know that when the 10-year yield climbs, it puts downward pressure on equities.
Mhm.
So this 10-year yield has gapped above this declining trend line here and is up here now. So we'll see if that 10-year yield continues to climb or not. But overall, Q's had a strong day, finished above this trend line here. MACD starting to curl on the daily.
Hey Brian,
Yep.
on that chart that you just have right now, go back. You went back a few days. No, go back even farther.
You
You
talking
had
about on the Q's
yeah, that one right there. See that red uh top candle on the left hand side?
over here?
That yeah,
Yep.
that's the one that concerns me. That if you look at it from a long term view, it could be could it be an M? It's kind of one of those things that a double top or and that's the concern with the market. Is it uh overbought? And that's when most people are that consideration. The stock market has to breathe somewhere. It's
Mm-hmm.
got to take a break, and that's where it is. I don't know, and that's anybody's guess. But
That's why your stop losses are so important because without those stop losses, you run away. So,
absolutely,
all right, I'm going to stop sharing, give you control, and you can throw your charts up.
absolutely. Well, I like Tesla. I'm a real fan of it. We go. I got Palantir on here. I was looking at that one earlier. But Tesla is one of those stocks that it's uh, no matter how you slice or dice it, when you share, when you put your money into a specific candidate and that candidate wins, there's a benefit that comes from it. I am seeing here in this chart, even though uh, Tesla had a great day today. This line right here, there's a lot of demand and a lot of selling that happens in around the 304 in that 313 range. I am uh, optimistic that this keeps running up. If it does run up, I think tomorrow it'll be around this zone. I'm looking to see if it stays above that line or if it stays below. I still think that Tesla still has a lot more to go. I think the only thing that it priced in was the win today. So even though yes, it's a great move for the stock, but really it's made the move from all the losses that is done from previous months. So from the all times here from 2022, before he purchased X, the stock was worth more. So I still think that this stock has room to grow, but I'm cautiously optimistic. But until the presidency is secure, but I won't. I'll hold my breath on this stock, but I am bullish on Tesla. I believe the stock could go to 850, around that range, and only because that's the price where the stock split. And generally, when a stock split between 3 to 5 years, it usually goes back to the original price from where it split. So that's why one of those plays I like Tesla, but I'm also cautious on this line right here. This is a very pivotal point. If it stays above that line, I am probably going to be adding to my position on Tesla.
Well, see, that begs the question of swing trading versus long-term investing, right? So,
Hmm.
like I put in our Discord group earlier today, for me
Absolutely.
personally, swing trading Tesla is very difficult. I don't do well swing trading Tesla. You have
Absolutely.
too much headline risk, right?
Hmm.
Musk sends out a tweet or an X, or whatever they call it. That stock's could go down, 8, 10, 12% in one day. So
Correct.
for me personally, swing trading Tesla has not worked. It almost becomes a meme stock at some point.
And
Um,
and that's why with Tesla, I've always treated it as okay. I'm not trading this stock for what the price is today or tomorrow. I'm really looking at this price at the stock of what it will look like in 5 years.
yeah,
So
you're looking at Tesla more of a buy and hold
it
strategy, not a
is.
swing trading strategy.
Correct. And that's where I like more different stock for swing trading. That basically I try to have two wealth buckets. I have a long-term bucket and then I have my cash in, that's my swing trading money. That gives me the opportunity to buy more so I can keep adding to my long-term wealth bucket. So it's like a simultaneous play that you do. It's not like I do one strategy. It's like simultaneous strategies over time. And that's what I like. And it is, like you mentioned, Brian, it is a long term play. And Tesla is not a stock that you want to swing trade because you will need you probably get a lot of acid reflux from that one. Because
Yeah, you
just
got to
like
know
with
your
the
risk
two,
tolerance really
you
well if you want to swing
do,
trade Tesla.
you do. And it's one of
Yeah,
those stocks that I really am, I don't swing trade it. I like more NVIDIA. Stocks like that we pick on our stock list. For those, I like swing trading those. It's just more fun and some more predictability. Where Elon Musk is, it's almost like a drug company, like a Pfizer
yeah,
is
that
really.
headline risk. Yep,
It is, and you
yep,
have to
for
know where
sure.
you're investing. And for all our traders out there, if you're a long-term play, then that's a different story. But swing trading, it is a lot of risk there. That one is a lot of headline news.
I agree. What other stock you want to look at tonight?
Let's look at Rivian.
Okay,
Yeah, and I know
you
it's
like the
a
EVs, don't you?
the EVs, and this is the thing is I'm a gas guzzling type of guy. I'm a Ford guy. I'm an F-150 driving guy, but it's just one of those things that you look at is uh, uh, what's going to happen in the future. So it's like one of those plays where it's a technology play. The stock has just been added to the S&P 500. It has been performing well. The one thing that I will
Oh, you brought
say,
up Plantier.
yeah, Palantir.
Yeah, not Rivian. Palantir is what you
Oh,
want to talk
oh,
about.
sorry, yeah, wrong stock. Yeah, Palantir and Rivian, but wrong stock. I had that in my head. Where we at with Rivian? Where we at?
Indices highlighted.
Mm. Oh, there we
Switch over to
go.
stocks.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. But no, this is not it. This stock
No,
right
yeah,
here.
you chose a European index.
Yeah.
There it is, right there.
There we go. Here we are. So this stock right here is kind of been in a no man's land play, and this is a stock I'm looking. And the only reason why I'm mentioning this stock, Brian, is I've been to Seattle
That's
and Portland lately,
the
and
third
this.
one down.
There we go. Give me 1 second. There was something wrong with my connection there. Can you pull up the stock?
I sure can.
Sorry about that. There was something wrong with my connection there. I don't know what happened. But like Rivian, what I was mentioning, Rivian is one of those stocks that it's a rival to Tesla, but it's one of those stocks that's news driven because of Amazon. There's a lot of Amazon has kind of just did a partnership with Rivian, and a lot of their vehicles in New York and in Seattle are all Vivian, and they're starting to move to more of these electric vehicles. I would see more of a play there. So I was looking more of Rivian as probably on a watch list to put on the watch list there because of those little moves, even though it's taking a hit. But it has the possibility and potential only because of what it's doing, the partnership with Amazon.
All right, so Rivian is at $9.71. So for me personally, I typically don't trade anything under $10,
Hmm.
but it's pretty close. But let's chart this real quick. So in order to chart, I usually will flip to a line chart to clean things up a bit. So
Hmm.
you've got, so it looks like you've got somewhat of a floor there, and then you're starting to create a bit of a floor here.
Hmm.
Let's see how our support and resistance plays out there. So yeah, so in terms of Rivian, if you wanted to swing trade it, right, you've got a level, you've got a level of resistance here, which has acted as support as well. So for me personally, I wouldn't be interested in Rivian unless we got a SR flip, right? I'd want to see it get north of this $10 range here
Correct.
and get that SR flip, and then have, let me make this bigger so it's a little more visible. Get that SR flip and kind of watch Rivian to make sure it consolidates and holds above this and starts to honor it. At that point, I might get a little interested in it because where can you take it? Well, it looks like your next real area of resistance is going to be right around 1306. So the question is, if you get in north of 10, right? If this becomes the entry area around here, can you get a minimum of a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio up to 13? Right. So that's really the question. So
Hmm.
let's do some quick math and see what we get here. So if you enter, let's say 1050, and your target is going to be just below this level of resistance here at 1294.
You're looking about a 22,
Yep, it's about a
22,
19 to
20%.
20%. Yep.
It's a good play for someone with a smaller portfolio that's trying to grow it. It's one of those that you can systematically grow an account if you're patient. But this is a more of a patient play. It's not going to be an overnight type of play. But so it's
So earnings are tomorrow. So from a swing trading perspective, I definitely wouldn't be in this trade. I don't know if earnings are in pre-market or aftermarket. I don't know because I don't follow Rivian too closely. But I definitely wouldn't trade over earnings from a swing trading perspective. But look at the volume on that today, right? Almost 70 million shares versus an average volume of 30 million shares.
Mhm.
So it had a lot of volume today coming into the stock, even though it closed down 8%. So very, very interesting on the volume bar for today. Um, I might keep this on the. I'll see what this does with earnings tomorrow. So, do you want to look at Plantier?
Yeah,
I know you like that one as well.
yeah. I
Then
mean,
we'll wrap up by looking at Nvidia, and then we will wrap up this conversation.
absolutely.
Well, you can see Plantier one I have charted, so I've traded Plantier swing trading wise. And there's a lot of people that buy and hold Plantier and have done very well with it. So looks like earnings were good for Plantier, right? So it's taken this 5-day moving average and made it move parabolic. So definitely, bet you if I open up the RSI, it's going to be oversold. And yep, RSI is north of 80. So definitely oversold at the point, a bit stretched. Doesn't mean it can't keep going higher though. But
Hmm.
from a swing trading perspective, I certainly wouldn't be getting in anytime soon because it is oversold. I would definitely be looking for some type of pullback, retracement, and ability to actually chart this thing with a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So, um, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. It's still a no man's land right now, but you have to wait for the retracement, and that's the key to being a disciplined trader is kind of knowing when to get in a trade and knowing when to wait.
All right, and we'll take a look at Nvidia and wrap up. Nvidia is one we definitely trade a lot in our group. So, um, we actually got into this trade today. So, I'm not often a fan of getting into a stock after a big gap up because there's always that possibility that it's gonna fill that gap in the next few weeks, and it may not fill the gap. There's no guarantee the gap does get filled. I mean, I think there's data out there that tells us gaps get filled more than not. But in any event, with the momentum in the market in general, with MACD starting to curl up, and with this SR flip, that's really what happened. This gap up pushed it through this level of resistance here that it had been sitting under. It tried to break out this past, in October, was unsuccessful, pulled back with the sell off, found a floor at this rising trend line and honored it, and then started to climb back up. So we'll see. But we did take positions in this today from a swing trading perspective. We are 14 days out from earnings, so I will not personally be in this trade longer than 14 days. I'll be out before earnings for sure. But my first target on this is a 153.12, I think is what I've got as my first target. So we'll see how this does. As long as it stays above this SR flip, we're good. I've got a stop loss set just below this 5-day moving average as my technical stop loss.
I like this trade right here. I'm also like you. If it stays above that line, it's is building another stair step up. So it's kind of just it's an exciting time. I think these are great companies that we talk about, but also I'm bullish on America. So I like where we're headed, and this is the wave of the future.
Well, I just bought a brand new Dell laptop, and I actually spec'd NVIDIA chips in it. So
Yeah.
it's running beautifully. I've never had a computer with NVIDIA chips in it before. So
What was crazy is that Nvidia has really changed the game for gamers. Really for in graphics wise, when I was a kid, like even playing Mortal Kombat, you look at all that. Nvidia has really changed the game. Not only for that, but they have innovated how those processors work, and I think
mhm.
it's really something that uh, many people might not think this, but Jensen, I mean the CEO and co-founder, I mean he's a kind of like a Steve Jobs of our day. Similar.
Yeah,
M-
no, very, very, very smart guy for
Very
sure.
smart
So
and innovative. So props to him and what he's doing. And then AMD's like the little sister.
stepchild.
It is the stepchild, but their core business is totally different than
Right.
Nvidia. So that you balance that. I mean, but it has a lot of same industry. But
Yeah, that
I'm bullish on what's going to happen in the next few years. But also, uh, you have to help. We help people navigate through those storms because it's not going to be a straight shot up. And you could see that many of the next 4 years are going to be opportunities where people can get out of debt, pay off stuff, and use the stock market as that vehicle to really move the needle forward in their favor.
well said. Well, good. I think that wraps up our first episode.
Perfect, man.
All
Until
right.
next time, guys. See you guys.
Yep. Stay disciplined. We'll see you next week. So that actually streamed live. I didn't realize it was going to. I thought I